this story by my parents. That
No, that is brilliant.
I was 6 years old. I was. Cinco.
Es lo que hace uno por el amor al arte,
Sí,
las cosas que hace uno por el amor al arte.
Sí.
Bueno, pues nada. Hello,
Okay.
good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Well, I have the pleasure to be here with Antimo Magnotta, the pianist, in the Victorian Abbey Museum. And he's been the pianist in residence for already 12 years.
Yes, 12 years.
12
Since
years.
2013.
2013.
Yes.
And well, it's a great pleasure for me to be here in conversation with him and interviewing him. And I thought it'd be a fantastic addition for my YouTube channel as well, to interview somebody whose music I find really inspiring.
Thank you.
Actually.
Thank you very much.
And well, an inspiring musician, pianist and composer, and well, a very warm person as well.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So I have to start by asking you about Costa Concordia, because you've written a book about it. Well, you've written a lot about it and you've written music about it.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is the concert so far I know about you, and I know what I've read and I know what I've heard, but perhaps you'd like to tell me and tell us more about your experience, because he survived the Costa Concordia tragedy that took away the life of 32 people, and it was a real tragedy, and he is alive.
Yeah, thankfully. It's been almost a life-changing event.
Mm-hmm.
So this happened in 2012, and prior to tell you about this fateful event, I need to say that I used to work for cruise ships and hotels and clubs and auditoriums around the world for nearly 2 decades, so nearly 20 years of my life, just playing my piano show. That night, on the 13th of January 2012, I was performing my piano show, fully immersed in my beautiful routine. It looked like a utopian, almost very cinematic, Fellini atmosphere. If I want to manage a film director, it reminds me of the dreamy atmosphere of Federico Fellini production. So I was performing my piano show, and all of a sudden we crashed, and the ship eventually sank. And I miraculously saved my life just because I was in the middle of my duties. So I was playing the piano, performing my piano show, and while the ship was tilting, eventually sinking very slowly, I was much above the sea level, so quite above the water, because I was on the 5th deck, on the aft of the ship, so the back of the ship. It took nearly 7 hours to evacuate the ship. So without going into going much into details, I would say that this changed my life.
Yeah,
of course, and very much inspired my my production and my composition. So it was extremely impactful on my life and also on my career as a musician, because I consider this almost a life-changing event, which inspired me to produce more music, because I, at that time, in the aftermath, so right after the accident, I suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. So I lost my sleep, I lost my peace of mind, I had mental scars, of course, and music helped me to cope with this mental condition. So I literally used music as a form of self-therapy. So
completely.
And I have many reasons to be happy, because, you know, here I am telling
exactly,
the story.
And it's incredible sort of contradiction in life, where negative experience sometimes force us and make us focus, and in a way inspires or place a seed for the creation of new music, new knowledge, and something meaningful. And through that unfortunate experience that fortunately you were able to survive, you've created some really inspiring music. And do you think you are free now when you compose new music? Do you think you are free of that experience, or is it in a way always with you somehow, or at a small level, or perhaps?
Well,
what do you think?
I would mention two type of aspects. The first one was just that I gradually started to cope with my traumatic experience. So gradually I got my sleep back, because most uncomfortable and fearful situation was that I couldn't sleep at all, and it took nearly 3 or 4 years to get back.
You've done very well.
Thank you, to my normal kind of like average 6-7 hours sleep. Occasionally I would just connect with that night, because of course it's part of my life now. It's a turning point, and I'm now happy to celebrate my second life. So it's with me, the memory of all that, because basically I survived. I have many reasons to be happy, and unfortunately I lost 2 friends of mine, 2 fellow musicians, 2 colleagues of mine, a violinist from Hungary and a drummer player from Italy. But there's also the other outcome. As a result, I appreciate life more.
Yeah.
So this is something that's unearthed some, inner feeling. As I paid a tribute to the 32 victims with my album Inner Landscape, I always have this kind of visual metaphor of my new discovery, of mapping my inner emotional geography. This is the reason why the album I dedicated to the 32 victims is called Inner Landscape.
Yes.
So I have many reasons to be happy again, and I'm appreciating life on a daily basis, day by day. So I appreciate every details of my fascinating journey on this planet.
It's interesting what you say, because Antimo came to the New Manor Hall and he gave a concert there, which was very, very well welcomed in the Jurassic Coast, in the Isle of Purbeck. And your music is mesmerizing.
Thank you.
Even if I didn't know anything about Costa Concordia, hadn't you tell me anything, absolutely a word about your music got inside me, and I think it got inside everybody. And that's what music should do, just to get in you, whether you hear an expression for it or not. But if you hear an expression for it, of course, it's even more meaningful. And well, so we were just saying
Yeah.
that it is after Antimo's concert there, at the end, as well from it being an inspiring experience, but also sad to hear the story of what happened. At the end of it, I was really, I have to thank you, and I'm sure many people will thank you, because I was left with a sense of reawakening, this feeling that I am also alive, and this is also my second life. So in a way, is saying thank you for reminding us that every day is present, and how often do we spend our times worrying about the past or thinking about the future, but to live in the present and in the moment is just so important. And we will come back to Antimo's experience and how that is connected to the VandA, where we are now, to the Victoria and other museums. So I think it would be nice to end with that story, actually, because I think that's a very meaningful story.
Definitely.
But we can go back now in time. And I think I read in your book, but I'd like to ask him, when was the first time, when is your first memory ever in your life that involves a piano? And how did you decide to become a pianist? Perhaps at the beginning you just decided to play the piano, not necessarily to be a pianist. But,
This came out of the blue, actually. I was told this story by my parents. That I was 6 years old. I was a very shy boy, the eldest of 4 kids, and there are no musicians in my family. So prior to describe the circumstances through which I approached the piano, I rather say that there's this type of background, a typical Southern Italian family. My mom is a baker, my father is a former bus driver, so no musicians in my family. But all of a sudden I discovered this, I had this type of kind of insight just by watching a show on TV. There was a guy a gentleman playing this beautiful thing, piece of glossy furniture. And I would ask my father, glossy furniture. He looked to me like a vessel, and this also triggered some very, very inspiring reactions in me. The shape of a vessel.
yeah.
I'll try to describe this further, later.
Yes.
So I asked my father, what is he doing? And my father, just explained, this is a piano, it's a grand piano. This gentleman is performing a concert. I was totally hypnotized. So they took me to the local piano teacher. We used to live not so far away from Napoli, my hometown, 20 minutes driving north from Napoli, south of Italy. So they took me to the local piano teacher, and unexpectedly she reported to my parents that I manifested some very strange inclination to music. And for me, it was the very beginning of this adventure, and it gradually became my job. This is a very long story.
It's a very long
short,
story.
Of course.
Let me now that I'm here, let me show this. I'm reading Antimo's book. This is the book I'm reading.
How Music Saved My Life. Yes.
How Music Saved My Life. And I've been told it's fantastic. And I'm just read a third at the moment, but I wrote this question before I was reading these. And so you don't remember this story? It was your parents that told you?
Yeah. Of course. I was a very young boy. I mean, so.
So isn't that incredible that at 6 years old he asked his parents whether they could buy him a piano?
Yeah.
And they did.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
for what I read in your book, of course, your friends, cousins wanted to play football with you.
Yes,
and
of
your
course.
grandmother would stay with a broom to shoo them off.
Stand guard
so
to
that,
protect.
But and then you also mentioned that when you played football or any other sports, people would be really, really careful not to touch his precious hands because he
Yeah,
was the
yes,
pianist boy.
yeah, it was
And
unbelievable.
so all the children were really respectful. So when I was reading the book, I was just really moved that your family listened to you
Yes.
and bought you a piano.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Moved for the appreciation by your family that they were listening to you,
Yeah.
and the respect that they generated around these, that they nurtured you.
Yes.
And the people the children of your same age.
Yeah, we were
because
11 cousins.
This
in
is
the building.
amazing, and they
Yeah.
they respected you for these. You were special. You could play the piano, and you generated sort of like a wave of respect around you. But
Yeah, yeah.
I was moved that they were so appreciative, nurturing, and respectful, and I was moved as well because you appreciated it so much as well.
Yes, yes.
So
In return, there was a risk to be discriminated or bullied, you know, because we were all boys. I remember I grew up in an estate with three flats, three apartments. We were four kids on the other on the upper floor, and the second floor was three boys. So we were 11 cousins. So the risk was to be, as I said, bullied or discriminated or maybe put apart, you know, not involved into like playful activities.
Yeah.
Like all the young, we were pretty much the same age, all the boys, you know,
and they
all
didn't
the
do
cousins.
anything like that.
No, they would show a very unexpected respect. And the funny episode I described in my book, that we were at the ground floor with this, and the piano was placed in the living room, and there was this big window, I still remember, overlooking the street, and everyone was just peering
You were
through
the
the
pianist
and show me the ball. So when you're done with the piano, we wait for you.
That's just wonderful.
It's a typical
just wonderful.
Italian, you know, Southern Italian. It moves me because it's. I get emotional because it's all true, and it's a very lovely memory, and it makes me think about the power of music that would hypnotize me at the time, just practicing the piano, but also creating a type of a different environment in the house and in the building where I was, you know. So
That is just incredible.
Yeah.
Actually, so you, in a way, anybody walking past would have the opportunity to listen to you and to see you through that window.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And of course, my grandmother, standing with the broom,
No, that's wonderful.
she would
Honestly,
stand
I am
guard.
so
Yeah.
moved.
It's
Is
true.
she still alive?
No,
Is her-
unfortunately not.
Okay.
But I'm very thankful, of course, to my parents,
She
my
contributed.
family, and she contributed. And she was my best judge. She would just criticize me when a passage on the piano was not so well delivered or performed.
You need that in life.
She didn't go to school. She
Yeah.
barely speak Italian, but she had a sense of this aesthetic, you know, sense of beauty.
Yeah,
that she
really.
would say, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't really like whether I was playing Rachmaninoff or Bellini, Giuseppe Verdi, or Mozart or Beethoven. She would say, I like this, I don't like this. And I would take in a very serious consideration her criticism, you know?
That is fantastic, because that brings me to something that I think about it quite often. Because in a way, I think in life, the only way to reach excellence is to be one's best critic.
Absolutely.
So to do something that one wants to do, to reach an aim
Yeah.
in life, is both being inspired, but not just being inspired and following one's ideas. One also has to perfect those ideas.
Yeah.
And there is no end, and that's beautiful.
It's very
there's
true.
there's no end to that.
Absolutely.
So it is beautiful that your grandmother started doing that. And there was a point that in my life that I've also had to do this to myself.
Yeah.
There's no choice. There's no choice.
Absolutely.
The concert is the one in Crystal Palace. The one in Crystal Palace.
Together, remember?
Yes, we took the train on the way back to Crystal Palace.
With the cameraman.
Yes, the cameraman was there and I was just sitting at the back. Yeah, that was already a year ago. Is that possible? Yes. Well, lovely to see you. Yes.
Okay. Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Avísame cuando está.